You're listening to For the Republic, a love letter to Star Wars animation.
This has been a huge week to be a Star Wars fan. Not just because of Andor, not just because of the aftermath of Star Wars Celebration, but because Revenge of the Sith was re-released in theaters and had the biggest opening for a re-release in like 15 years, which is crazy to me. I saw it last night. Conor saw it Thursday. I know this wasn't your first time seeing it.
I'm probably going to see it again.
I'm going tomorrow afternoon.
Yep.
But it was my first time seeing it in the theaters, which is insane to me. Revenge of the Sith, just real quick, was the first Star Wars movie that I have memories of being excited for. It was the first new release when I was becoming a Star Wars fan, because I think Attack of the Clones was out or was coming out, but I was too young to like be conscious of that. But Revenge of the Sith, I vividly remember the marketing. I remember the toys, the ad campaigns, the trailers. I remember everything. Didn't get to see it in theaters. I was able to watch it on DVD afterwards, and it changed my life. So to see that now, 20 years later, on the big screen, packed theater, not an empty seat in the house, it was great. I do have to not shout out AMC here because they didn't have the Vader popcorn buckets and they didn't have a poster up. So like, what are we doing here, guys? So hopefully when I go tomorrow at a different theater, they will have that Vader cup that I want because of that Hayden Christensen meme where he's just sipping out of the cup. But no, this was incredible. I noticed things that I hadn't noticed prior, which the same thing happened to me when I saw Phantom Menace in the theater last year. It's crazy that you can have movies that have been out for 20, 25 years that we've seen dozens of times at a minimum, and we still notice new things upon rewatches. And it's just, there's just something about seeing it on a big screen that is just unmatched to me. Conor, I know you came to us after your showing it and said that your view on Anakin's arc in this movie just changed watching it in the cinema. So go into that real quick.
Yeah, in a sense, because like, so viewers, watchers, same word, just see what it feels. Anyway, viewers of this show and listeners of this show probably know. I've probably talked about it here, but I think I've went more into detail on it on my other show, Knights of the Nerd Republic. Like, I kind of don't give much of a shit about the Skywalkers, except Leia. Leia's fucking cool, especially in the comics. Leia's fucking cool.
And Shmi beating the hell out of Shmi in the Lego game. Shmi beating the hell out of Sheev in the Lego game.
Fuck yeah, Attack of the Clones, baby. When it came to Anakin, so let me pull up what I wrote because I can't. Okay, yeah. So it was weird because, like you said, Andrew, we've seen these movies millions of times, but there's something about seeing it, I guess, in a theater where you like have to actually like lock in and watch it and not get distracted by any outside noise when you're watching it like at your home or whatever or with friends. I, for the first time probably ever, not only felt that Anakin's arc was pretty decently paced in this movie, and again, I'm saying that might have been colored by the fact that I have watched Clone Wars. I have read some of the comics depicting Anakin in the Jedi Order in the prequels. I have read some of the Vader comics. I have through osmosis sort of read other books and comics that sort of go into Anakin's psyche and character in the prequel trilogy. So that really helps solidify his arc a lot more. But still, even independent of that, I thought his arc was pretty decently paced in this movie in terms of like, oh, I'm a good guy now. I'm Darth Vader. I kill kids. That was terrible. But I choke. No, never mind.
Nope.
Never mind.
No, we're not getting into that.
No. I may have inadvertently killed my wife while she has kids. Not really. I'm pretty sure one of the comics kind of goes into that. I could be wrong. I can't remember. Anyway, so I thought his arc was pretty decently paced in the movie. And for actually the first time ever, I actually really felt for Anakin in terms of struggling between his dedication to the Jedi, but then there's his desire to save his wife from almost certain death. And then his whole friendship with Padme getting in the way of his like Jedi duties and abilities. Because like, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I completely forgot that Palpatine in the one scene before they go to the council, Anakin goes to the council, Palpatine just straight up says to him, "Yeah, I'm appointing you to be my personal representative on the council." And I'm like, oh. So, like, that's totally why the council is like, hey,
yeah, you're not
we're
a
kind
master.
of forced to put you on the council, but that doesn't mean we're going to make you a master. So, we kind of can't do that. I don't know. I did not think of that. And it just, Anakin's whole thing of like, hey, I feel like I should be a Jedi and I don't want all this power, but deep inside me, there's this like urge to have all this power and desire for it. I'm like, hell yeah, man. I can not really relate to that, but I can empathize with it.
Yeah, no. My last couple watches have really honed in on that. Like, there's the great scene where he's talking to Padme. It's like, I want more, but I know I shouldn't.
Ooh,
And
the
then
delivery by Hayden Christensen is great there.
My favorite scene, maybe, like, aside from the big lightsaber battles and everything, my favorite scene maybe in the entire movie is right before the Windu Palpatine fight when him and Padme are both looking out the windows. The big thing and this is mainly related to that scene, the big thing I took away from this movie is I've been leaning towards this opinion for like a decade. This is John Williams' magnum opus. I think this is his best film score he's ever done. It is so insanely good in this movie.
That is valid.
And it is incredible.
And getting it with like surround sound, like in the cinema, it was beautiful. I will say my crowd was fairly tame because my friend was like, "Oh yeah, my whole theater cheered when Anakin ignited the saber on the younglings." I'm like, that did not happen in mine.
What the hell?
But
that is some chicken jockey shit right there.
What was crazy to me though was like you could just tell the palpable excitement in the theater when I was like waiting for the opening crawl to hit. The dude next to me was literally like shaking in excitement. It's just like, this is so cool.
Okay. Sorry. Mm-hmm. Can we go back to that?
Yep. What are we gonna do?
Friends theater. Fear. When he ignited the saber.
Cheered, yep.
On the younglings in the temple.
It's like, yay, he's gonna kill the kids.
Every single one of those people needs to be checked. They need to be checked.
Oh my God. They need to. People need to take a look at their voting records.
That's
oh boy,
bad.
Hey, we're talking about Andor. It's we can get a little bit more political up in this bitch.
That is bad.
Yeah, it was weird. But
anyway,
can I just add on to what you said about this soundtrack? Because I could not agree with you more about this being perhaps John Williams' best Star Wars soundtrack. Because I loved all of his all of his music for the different movies. I think A New Hope's obviously iconic. Phantom Menace, it has a special place in my heart because of Duel of the Fates. But there is so much with that soundtrack that is just incredible. Like, there's so many tracks that where if you play them instantly in any other media, it instantly gets chills. Like, there's a reason that the Order 66 scenes in Jedi Fallen Order, for instance, hit so hard because they play the Anakin's betrayal song and it just hits you like a ton of bricks. I can say, watching that back in 2005, the wave of sadness, the heartbreak I felt, even though most of these Jedi were at the time glup shittos who I only knew a little bit about, just the music, it's probably one of the saddest pieces of like music we've heard in the history of cinema. Like, I would put it up there with like the Lonely Man theme from the Incredible Hulk TV show in terms of like one of the saddest singular pieces of music we've ever heard.
Every time they use it, it's just like, oh my God, it's a punch to the gut. Like you said, when they used it in Fallen Order, and when they use Anakin's dark deeds during the Vader fight, like those are two of the best things. One last thing I want to bring up, speaking of the music, my screening opened with a message from Hayden Christensen.
Yes.
And while they were doing that, the score of him, Vader arriving to Mustafar was playing, and I was getting goosebumps, like just because of the music.
Enter Lord Vader.
Enter Lord Vader is
which also shows up in Battlefront 2, right when they cut to an Imperial Lambda class shuttle going into Pilio.
Ooh.
Yeah.
A lot of the prequel soundtrack is like ingrained in my mind, not only because of the movies, but because of the original Battlefront 2. And like all of the media surrounding that. Like it's so good. And just getting to see Anakin and Obi-Wan fight on the big screen was insane. And I hope they keep doing this for all the anniversaries. We got Force Awakens later this year. We got Rogue One next year. 2027 is going to be huge because we got the New Hope 50th anniversary and the Attack of the Clones 25th anniversary and the Last Jedi 10th anniversary. So like you can go a lot of places with that. Also, I have now seen. Go ahead.
I need to mention, I said it before, but I'll say it here on air again. I felt like a TikTok girly in the sense of, if I watch it this time, he won't turn.
Every time.
That's not how it works, man. Dude, especially the fucking scene where Anakin discovers that Palpatine's the Sith Lord, and then he goes to Mace Windu. I'm like, buddy, just fucking strike him down. Like when he's like,
cut his head off.
Do you want to kill me? And he's like, I would certainly like to. In my mind, I'm like, Anakin, buddy.
Just do it. Do it. I can't tell you how many times I've thought that.
God.
Oh my goodness. It's good storytelling though. It's good. It's like good filmmaking, good storytelling. When even though you know what is going to happen, even though you know what's going to come after this, you're still in that moment going, maybe this time it might be different because I'm so engrossed in this story and these characters, and I just would love it to turn out differently because of how tragic everything ultimately spins. But yeah, it's Revenge of the Sith is a special movie, and seeing it, I'm so happy that you finally got to experience it in theaters, Andrew, in cinemas. It's like I remember I saw it twice back in 2005, and it was an incredible moment. I have so many sense memories. Watching Order 66 and just being devastated, but also the kind of like frisson that came over me, like when the Anakin and Obi-Wan's ships like fly down next to the Venator, and the theme starts playing.
So sick.
Dude, and
I
was seeing that in theaters was crazy.
And I was like, oh, here we go. This is it. This is the last Star Wars movie. This is it.
Yeah.
I'm never going to see I don't think I'll ever see a Star Wars movie in cinemas again. And it has some of that finality to it, even now, like because of the fact that this is ending George's story. It was a great experience, and I'm so happy that it's so great that they've re-released it, and to see you and Conor both getting to experience it that way, and the kind of audience reception. I love it. It's great.
One last thing I want to bring up that Conor alluded to when we were talking about this a couple days ago after he saw it is I think it would have been cool because he brought this up if they re-added the Padme deleted scenes into the movie during this re-release.
Not even just the Padme scenes, all of them. Like I know they're being a bit particular on changing things because of George not being there anymore, and like kind of wanting to stick to what his last changes were before he sold the franchise as like his definitive version of the movies. But they remade the Delegation of 2000 canon and those scenes canon in one of the reference books for Andor. A couple of years ago. So ever since that happened, I think Dawn of the Rebellion was the name of it. Ever since that happened, I've wanted them to reintroduce those scenes into the movie, and I think it would be cool. But this is now 10. This is now 10 of the 12 theatrically released Star Wars movies I've seen in theaters. So A New Hope, Attack of the Clones. Please put some theater just re-release those two specific movies so I can see them, please.
I really want to see the trench run in a cinema.
CGI morphed CGI Palpatine.
Yeah.
When he's fighting Mace Windu.
Oh, there's a shot where you clearly can tell.
It's so goddamn funny because it's like, dude, seeing that in the year 2025 is so funny to me because it's like, you know, that Lucasfilm, with the resources that they probably have, they could have just touched that up and fixed it, not to make it like not look as grating, but it still does, and it's kind of funny. I think another thing that I really like about Revenge of the Sith, and I guess it's because, so I was 8 years old when that movie came out, and just, I guess the vibes is the best way to put it. The vibes
are insane.
The early 2000s coupled with the end of the prequels in terms of Star Wars, merchandising, games, the books, and just like the sort of 2007 to like 2010 like grittiness when it came to like media, and like Revenge of the Sith obviously coming out 2 years prior to all that, I think just really just fits it so well. And every time I think about Revenge of the Sith, I just think about that era in terms of like the media that came out and just like just everything. I don't really know how to explain it.
I still maintain that it's the best marketing campaign a movie's ever had. Like,
that's true.
It is the
Have
one
you
thing
guys seen the
where
orange ad?
I will seek out like every original 2005 Revenge of the Sith figure I see,
like,
because
dude,
I want to eventually collect the whole line.
When Toys R Us was still a thing, which is wild to say, I bought a fucking Jedi, like Anakin's Jedi Starfighter model. Like, I don't know if it was like full size, but it was pretty fucking big. Out of Toys R Us, because I'm like, I fucking need this. This shit's awesome.
Yeah.